Hey there guys, and welcome back. On this week's show, we're going to be talking about some gadgets. Well, we're pretty much coming to the end of the 2021 season for this show. And as the final Tuesday show of 2021, I thought we'd have a little bit of fun and I would go through some of the gadgets that I use here in my shop that make things either a little bit easier for me, a little bit more fun, or just a little more interesting. So without further ado, let's have a look at what I've got this week. Well, the first gadget I'd like to show you today is this. And what this is it's a voltage tester, but more specifically, it's a proximity tester. And what it does is it not only shows live voltage, but it also shows the potential for voltage. What does that mean for you guys as woodworkers? Well, probably nothing, but there is a way that you can use it in the shop, and I'm going to show you that. What this will do, guys, is it will show you if there is a potential for something to energize. In other words, if it has power. And if we take this device and we bring it over to the power bar, the first thing that we want to do is, using the button in the end, turn it on. From there, we can take it to our power bar. And remember, this shows potential for power as well. So if I plug it into one of the blades here, you can see that red slow flash. That is a potential for power. In other words, that's the neutral. That's the return wire of our power bar. If I bring it to the other blade of the receptacle, that's hot. That is live voltage. So potential, live. Potential, live. So what this can do is, very quickly, it can give you an idea as to whether or not there is power attached or power connected to something. In your house, it is absolutely priceless as far as making sure that something is turned off. If you are, say, changing a light switch, you want to make sure that you've shut off the right breaker. This little baby here, just by touching it to each wire, will tell you if you have it shut off or not. So how does this relate to the shop? Well, let's take it over to the table saw. Well, let's say you were going to change the blade in your table saw, and you're here at, in my case, a saw stop. You have your on-off switch for your saw, and you take your little proximity tester, which is glowing green to show us it's on, and just touch it to your controls. That there is showing us potential for power. What does that mean? It means the thing is plugged in. You shouldn't have your hands inside it. It's plugged in. It's got juice there somewhere. It has the potential to energize. So if we take it and unplug it, now if we take our proximity tester now and use it against the controls, we have nothing. We have no power, no potential. Green light, you're safe. You're good to go. But if we plug it back in, you're instantly getting that warning that there is power here in this system somewhere. So you know that this is not a good idea to be messing around with your blade. Get over there and unplug it. But as far as home use, guys, I'm going to tell you, this little device, just by doing a quick little check, can save you a nasty jolt, it can save you a bad burn, or it can save your life. So for the price that these things are at your local big box store, it's well worth your while to look into getting a proximity tester. Well, the next little gadget for today's show, you may not consider a gadget, but what it is this mallet. Now, this is the Halder Simplex 30 mallet, and on one side it has like a UHMW plastic mallet head here for adjustments and that sort of thing, and on the other side it has this rubberized head, so you get a little softer tap with one and a little harder with the other. Great for making adjustments on your dovetails or on your glue ups. If you're gluing up a mitered case and you need to tap it just a little bit to squeeze it in, this thing is brilliant. Depending on what side you use, it will not mar the finish of your product or dent your woods. But what makes it a gadget? I mean, it's a mallet with multiple heads. Well, what it is, you know what? Let's say that you mar this up. You tear the snot out of this UHMW1 by hammering something that's too hard, or over time, the rubber wears out here and it tears. Well, by using a 5mm hex key on this mallet, and this is where it's kind of a cool little thing, you can loosen off this head and the top of it separates. And when that separates, you can pull out, let me just give this a little loosen here. You can pull out these heads just like that. And we can pull out this one here. There we go. Just like that. And now what you have is replaceable mallet heads. And you can get these and basically replace them. And what you end up with is a brand new mallet once again. So your heads will just slide into your iron or your steel casing here. You'll put them back onto your handle, line her up, and tighten it down with your 5mm Allen key. Now, these things here, they're a little pricier than a normal mallet, and maybe it's because of its kind of gadget feel to it or whatever. My daughter got me this one for my birthday back in August, and this thing is awesome. I love it. So, I don't know if you guys are aware of it or not. I'm not sure, but you are now, and that is the Halder Simplex 30 replaceable head mallet. It's a pretty cool item. A while back on the show, I used this little item. And this is a thread ID from Chestnut Tools. And I haven't been able to find one of these since. But what it is it has a bunch of these pins that has very specific thread counts on it, metric and imperial. And you basically can unscrew one of these here. And what you have is, in this thick steel plate base, you have the thread count of that exact size bolt that you can test a bolt that you have to see if it fits in there firmly to identify the thread, or you have the thread of the pin that you took out that you can test a nut. As I said, unfortunately, I haven't been able to find these. They are no longer available, so I'm glad that I grabbed one when I did. But I want to point this out, that if you guys see one of these in a garage sale or an estate sale or something like that, grab it. These things are absolutely fantastic for IDing small threads in your shop. It's fantastic. This, though, is not the gadget that I want to show you today. I want to show you ones that, as far as I'm aware, are still available. And these are another set of the larger size of threads and bolts. And what it is basically a case that has inside, they close via a rare earth magnet, and inside they have nuts and bolts of varying sizes for testing your threads. So let's take this one out. This one here is a 12, 1.75. So with that, you have both a bolt of that size and a nut to test, threads in your shop. For me, how does this come in handy? Well, I do my own maintenance on my tools, and sometimes, after a tool's been sitting there for a while of being neglected and that sort of thing, and you open it up or try to remove a bolt, sometimes those bolts snap, or you strip the thread out and that sort of thing, and you need a replacement, but you don't know what replacement you need. Ta-da! You can just check it. If it's a metric bolt, then you would use this case and see which one you need. In this case here, It has all the imperial sizes, 7/16 by 20. There's quarter 20 thread. That's a very, very common thread. Quarter 28, 5/16, 24. Whatever you want, they are here, right up to a 1/2 inch by 13. Now, this will not solve all your thread ID problems, but you know, in the big box stores, they have these little gadgets on the wall where you can thread your bolt in there to identify it. Well, now these things here provide you that same opportunity at home. So either way, there you go. These little large metric and imperial thread IDs from Chestnut Tools as well. These are spectacular, and honestly guys, I hope that we can get a source on the smaller set, because this thing has been used more than these two. Well, quite a few of you asked me about my next little gadget, and that was this guy. And this is basically a headset magnifier. Now, mine has an optional light on it. This is an incandescent light. You can just turn the little lens here to turn it on, and it just clips on to the front visor. It's quite aimable. You can turn it whichever way you want, up or down sort of thing. It's only aimable side to side by adjusting your clip here on your visor. So how you want to adjust it is up to you. But basically it has a normal headband with an adjustable section here, just like hard hats or the higher quality visors. You can adjust it to your melon. There's a battery pack right here for the lights. I believe it takes 2 AA's, I believe it is, for the batteries, and they last quite a while. And it has 2 lenses. You can see here, this section here flips up if you don't need the lenses or need to use them at that time. Now I have a 2.75 magnifier in this lens, which is an optional lens. It actually comes with a 1.75, but that was a little light for my needs at the time. But either way, to see smaller parts and be able to keep it hands-free, it works really, really well. The biggest issue with this thing that I find is that you look absolutely ridiculous trying to use it. But other than that, if you need to see small parts and you're trying to do things like, in this case, it was doing the wiring of the of the Lego kits that I showed here on the program, then this thing is, you know, right up your alley. You can see those small connections regardless of how silly you look using it. I would rather look silly and be able to see than to not be able to see and look as handsome and debonair as I normally do here on the show. So there you go. For those of you who asked about it, the headset magnifiers, and I'll be sure to put a link in the description for those of you that are interested. You know, unless you want to be handsome and debonair, in which case, don't wear them. Well, the next gadget I'd like to show you here on the show is this. And what this is, I'm sure a lot of you have seen these. This is a pantograph. And what it does is it manually, in other words, you have to do the work, but it does the calculations for you. It manually either enlarges or reduces images according to how you have these parallel bars set up. And the way that you do that is by following the numbers on the pantograph. So in the center here, you have a stylus, which is what traces around your original drawing. On this side here, you have a little collet with a lead pencil in it, or a pencil lead in it. And then at the other end, you have another stylus, which is a support ball, which just rides on your work surface. So essentially what you do is you set this up the way that you want to get the size of the image that you want. Right now it's set at the number 2, which means that it will make the image 2 times larger or 2 times smaller than what the original is. And the way that you do that, if you want it to be larger, Your tracing stylus is here in this position in the middle, and your pencil is on this side. If you want it to be reduced, you reverse those two. So your stylus is over here and your pencil is in the middle. This side over here is your anchor point, which mounts to a special little bracket that I have here off to the side. So let's say that you wanted it to be 4 times the size. Well, that's easy. You loosen this pivoting bolt and you put it through the number 4 and the number 4 on this side. And then you do the same thing here. On this side, you put it to the number 4 and then the number 4. And that will make it 4 times larger or smaller. This one will go from 1 1/8, 1 1/9 size all the way up to 10 times the size of your original image. Now, right now, this is set up for a right-handed person. I am left-handed. So I'm going to set it up for a left-handed person, and then I will demonstrate to you exactly how this thing works. So essentially, if you are left-handed, let me just show you this here. We will remove our stylus from our center bottom here. And these pieces are labeled. This is A, B, C, D. So we will remove that as well. We will remove our ball stylus that our pantograph will ride on our desk or bench with, just like that. Okay. And in order to change this from right-handed to left-handed, you just reverse these 2 pieces. Just like that. Okay, so we will now put this back together. You'll want the A piece. We'll spin this. A will go over here, so it'll go A, B, and then again, you have to reverse these 2 as well. That means you got to take out your pencil stylus, like that. There we go. Okay, so your drawing stylus then will go up through D, up through B, and then your little knurled nut will go on top. A is your anchor point, and then you will go up through A and then up through your C with your ball stylus that rides on the work surface. And then in the letter C, you will put your pencil or your lead stylus back in. And there you go. Just like that now, we are set for a freakazoid like me being a left-handed person. So, let's get on with the demonstration. I'll show you how we use this thing. Well, the first thing you do is you clamp down your base onto your desk. Now mine's workbench is too thick for this clamp, so I've had to make a little bracket here to use it. So you just sit pivot point A, just like that, over top. Simple. Done. The next thing you want to do is take your original drawing. And what I have is a little cute little line drawing of a bunny rabbit here. So I will just place that on my bench underneath our stylus and tape it down. So now you want to get a piece of paper and we'll place it underneath our lead, just like this. Now, you want to make sure that your paper is in the right place. So holding your paper in the position where you think it is, or where you think it should be rather, I think I'm going to move it over a little bit. You line up your stylus with the top of your original, and then you move it down to the bottom. And you move it to the far right, and you move it to the far left. And you make sure that at no point in time are you going to be running out of paper, or if it's not centered, you'll be able to tell at this point by seeing, where your furthest points are. And once you're happy with the furthest points, you can tape your paper to your work surface. All right, so a lot of people who use a pantograph are never happy with the results. And there's a reason for that. And the reason for that is they're using it wrong. When you're using a pantograph, you don't use your stylus to trace your original. You use your lead over here to draw, but you watch over here how your stylus chases. And let me show you what I mean by that. So we will start here at the top of this bunny's ear. Okay, that is your front point. And now using your lead, we will come down and trace it. Now you see how I'm following that line right to the bottom there. Now I've got the line over here now. So the problem with using the stylus is that you don't get enough pressure on the lead, and therefore you don't really get enough of a dark image. Now I'm doing this very quickly, so it's not going to be perfect. But I just want to demonstrate it for you so you know what you're looking at. And then this comes down his chest, down his little leg, and up to his belly. And then across to his back leg. I'll draw this top leg here. Like that. We'll draw his little bitty foot. And then his other leg here. We'll come around to his tail. Now I didn't draw this line here, so I'll draw this in. Now just like with anything, the more you do this, the more you practice, the better you get. So you won't get it perfect right off the hop. See what I did there? You won't get it perfect right off the hop, but what you will get is a pretty darn close image of this little bunny rabbit. And then we'll just do his eye here. Look at that. Look at that. So what I've done is I've created this pattern 2 times the size. And at this point in time now, if you're, not happy, because it can be a shaky image, and I am rushing, but you can go through now and darken up or clean up your lines to give you the image that you want. It's just a fun way to increase or reduce original drawings that you have. And I mean, if this is what you'd like to try and, this sort of thing is up your alley, yeah, I fully encourage you to do it, because really it's a great way to reduce or enlarge original patterns that you have. And it doesn't take much to do it. You saw how fast I did that, and I can clean it up and make it absolutely perfect. If I wasn't rushing, I might have gotten a better result. But either way, just remember, you use the pencil to draw, not the stylus. So there you go, a pantograph, just a fun item, and I don't know, hopefully it's up your alley. Well, the last little gadget that I want to show you on today's show is something that if you love to do art projects, but your drawing ability isn't that good and you need a little bit of help, this thing might be right up your alley, and it's called a camera lucida. So let's head over to the bench and I want to show you what this thing is all about. Well, this is a camera lucida. And what it consists of is you have this bracket down here at the bottom, which clamps onto your work surface. It doesn't open thick enough to get through the girth of my workbench, so I've just clamped a board here. It has a strong gooseneck, which will allow you to set this in whatever position you wish to do your work. And on the end, it has kind of a weird looking lens slash mirror slash periscope, whatever you want to call the thing. But what it does is it allows you to look down through a viewer here, or if depending on how you set it up, you can do it the opposite way and look straight through it, but it allows you to look down, and it allows you to see 2 images at once. It will allow you to see your paper or your artwork down here, and it will also allow you to see your subject that you are looking at wherever, out there somewhere. So I'm going to try to set up the camera in a way that I can demonstrate and show you what you're seeing. I don't know if it's going to work. I think it all depends on what my camera wants to focus on here, but I'm going to try my best to give you guys an idea of what you're looking at when you're looking through a camera lucida. Well, this is a very difficult shot to see, but if you look there in the image, we're actually looking through the lucida lens right now at part of the image. And that what you're looking at is my Rikon oscillating drum sander. But yet, while you can look forward and see that sander, you can also see, there, see that? That's my pencil that is down on our work surface, down on our desk or our drafting table or what have you. So because of that, you can now see the image in the background ghosted over the ghost image of what is now my finger. So because of that, you are able to draw while seeing the image. So essentially you are tracing live images, you are tracing landscapes. And while it will not give you an exact duplicate or a high detailed drawing, it will definitely give you the layout and the proportions that you need to get your drawing's base layer put down. So let me do a little bit of this and I'll show you what it is that we end up with. So looking through the lucida here, I can see several images. So I'm just going to do this quickly. You can obviously spend more time if you like. I have a filter on here. It does come with multiple filters so that you can filter out the light as you wish. And honestly, I think that filter is inhibiting me at the moment, so I'm going to remove it. Like I said, I'm going very quickly here, so if I was actually using this for a project, I would be taking my time a lot more than what I am right now. So again, we'll just sketch it out. And what else do we have here? Got this little thing over here on the wall. Got a little picture sticking out the side. There's a peanut butter jar there and a plastic tray. There's a clock on the wall. And oh yeah, we've got some trays here. Again, you have to remember this is just very quickly done, very quickly scribbled out. There's the handle of my vacuum. And if we want, we can put my planer in there. Or at least parts of it. I'm not going to go too crazy on this, guys. This is just a little bit, oh, ran out of paper. A little bit of a demonstration, that's all. Okay. So, after all that is said and done, let me show you what we end up with here on this drawing. And after very quick sketching, and I mean quick, we end up with something that looks like this. Now, I know this is not a perfect drawing, and I'm okay with that. What this is a guideline. It's a base drawing to be able to continue and make the, get the proportions right. And if we look at it in comparison to the original, or what it was that I was looking at through the lucida, you can see that it's actually not that bad. It is an aid to doing a rough sketch, not an aid or a device to give you a finished product. You have to remember what it is and use it in that way. So there you go. We compare them side by side, and you know what, it actually does a pretty darn good job of enabling me to draw whatever I'm seeing. And hopefully if this is something that is of interest to you, well then, you know what, I'm glad I brought it to your attention. For those of you who it may not be of interest to, well, hopefully I've shown you something that you didn't know existed before. And there you have it. Just a few gadgets that I like to use in my shop, whether it be for necessity or just for the fun of it. Guys, some of these are just silly and plain fun, like the camera lucida or the pantograph. However, some of these are practical, and it may be something you may want to consider if you're a homeowner, like the proximity electrical voltage tester. An item like that, guys, can honestly, you may think I'm exaggerating, but it could save your life if you are working on something and you shut it off, but someone else sees, hey, that's off, and turns it back on. That one little quick check can give you the opportunity to know and be confident that the voltage is gone before you change that switch or receptacle. Small little maintenance things that you may feel comfortable with in your home. Now, get off that serious stuff and get back to the more fun things. Those bolt identifiers and thread identifiers, those things are spectacular. And when I first found out that that small one was no longer available, it was quite disappointing. So I will be looking to see if I can get another source for that. For now, though, we're kind of stuck with not being able to get them. But the larger ones are still available, which is a good thing. I'll post a link to those below, as well as for everything else that I've shown you today on the program. Now, the pantograph, that thing is a blast. That thing is a load of fun, and all, as long as you use it properly and use it realistically, it can really provide you with some great results. And what I mean by realistically is, don't think you're going to get an absolute perfect photocopy. You are getting something that you're going to have to touch up. Unless you have the world's steadiest hands, you are not going to get an exact perfect copy. And it's the same with the lucida. You're not going to look out there and get a finished Rembrandt. What you're going to get is a sketch that you need to turn into your own Rembrandt. And I know that you guys can do that. Some of you out there are very good and have a lot of artistic ability, so I know you can do it. And this lucida may be the thing that pushes you to make that masterpiece that you've always been trying to accomplish. Guys, this program's a lot of fun. It's a great way to finish off the Tuesday shows for 2021. I want to thank you for joining me today. I hope I brought you something that's, you know what, a little bit different. Hopefully I've brought you something that you didn't realize was out there. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Click that bell and then you won't miss notifications of future episodes of the show. I hope that you enjoyed the content today, guys. I hope I brought you something of interest. I hope that you're going to try to get some of these for yourself if they do interest you. But more importantly, I hope you're going to join me again next week. And, well, it'll be next year for yet another Alternative Tuesdays. See you guys in 2022.